Just wanted to take a second. You know, we've been chatting in our group chat. First of all, I don't know who all this video is going to go out to. It may just stay within our league. If you guys think it might benefit other people in the community, we may send it out. I didn't plan on editing it. My schedule's a little bit slammed right now, so I don't really want to put a lot of time in investing a lot of time into editing videos at the moment. So what I'm going to do here though is kind of show you guys what I do against third and long. I know y'all were chatting about it earlier. Weldon's obviously, he's been watching my broadcast, and he's kind of picked up on what I do on third and long, and he's on the right track. What I'm going to try to do is show you some little bitty minor tweaks that I use to kind of keep me from having that comeback route burn me like what Weldon was showing earlier. You got to understand, guys, it's a 3-man rush against a 5-man blocking scheme. You are not at an advantage here. You shouldn't play this down and distance with a 3-man rush thinking, all right, I'm going to get pressure on the quarterback. It just doesn't work like that. You watch the real NFL, they're not going to get pressure with a 3-man rush. What you're going to have is, out of 5 guys blocking 3 men, you're going to have 2 and 2 double down on your best pass rushers, and you're going to have one-on-one in another situation. Now, it just so happens that I build my roster where I've got 2 great pass rushers at all times. So I like to run in a long down and distance. First of all, because EA doesn't know how to make a damn game, I'm gonna go ahead and try to set something up here, and then it'll let me switch over. Let's see here. Now, if you'll notice here, first of all, my personnel, that's Myles Garrett, 96 overall. That's number 95. Number 55 is Danny Shelton. He's an 87 overall. He's a 300-pounder. I could probably put another pass rusher in that situation, but I like having a thick guy there in case they try to double up the edges. That way you've got a 320-pound lineman going up against probably an undersized center. Unless it's a Pro Bowl caliber center, you may get pressure up the middle. It very rarely happens for me. The other one over to the number 51 there, I believe that's Jamie Collins at the moment. I think right now he's around an 89 overall. He's a good pass rusher as well as a good drop back cover linebacker. He's one of those hybrid guys that come out of Bill Belichick's system. But my favorite play, third and long, is quarter 1-3-7. Like I said, 2 pass rushers and a heavy D tackle, and I go cover 4 drop. Okay. Now I'm on offense right now because, like I said, I already picked defense. But I think if I go one play, it'll reset. You'll notice I don't have many options right there. So I'm going to scramble. Why am I scrambling? Because there's only a 3-man rush. Why did I have time to find a running lane? Because there's only a 3-man rush. It's no different when you're on defense. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pick a cover 4 drop. Here's the problem. I'd like to be able to set the down and distance to 3rd and 18 so I can show you exactly how it's played. Unfortunately, we can't do that. So what may end up happening here is the CPU may end up their AI may end up checking it down. Okay, so I wanted you to think, did they get 18 yards on this play? Did they get 15 yards? Hell, did they get 10 yards? Because I'll run this a lot of times on 3rd and 10 if I'm not worried about a user running the ball in that situation. In that sense, they'll pancake the hell out of your defensive lineman, just like they should. Not necessarily pancake. They shouldn't do that. It's unrealistic. But it is a way that they added what we call a super win into that specific play. To where if you're running the quarter coverage, you only got 3 pass rushers, you're dropping 8 into coverage, and someone decides to run the ball at you, you should be at a disadvantage. So here's the cover 4 drop. I'm trying to think of what plays they typically run to get the comeback routes. What I'm going to do, of course, here I can't even pick my actual playbook. It goes back to the default setting, Cleveland Browns playbook, because EA's a bunch of damn idiots. Let me just try to go with some kind of trip set. Well, let me do this. Let's try this. See if we got some kind of vertical play. Because what's happening on those plays is they're running vertical routes, and then they're hitting the comeback. Now I'm going to show you how I kind of specifically make sure that I get to the quarterback before the comeback routes come. Here's a 4 vert play. See, if I pick that 4 vert play, then what's going to happen is they're probably going to hit that running back underneath, and we're not going to get much of a sequence here where we can actually look at it. So go ahead and let them get the first play off. See, I didn't get a pass rush there at all because I'm not on aggressive. Let's see if practice mode will actually let us set it to aggressive. Let's hope it does. I didn't even think about that. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't even add that into practice mode. Let me see though. Yep, they didn't, of course. So it's going to be damn near impossible to show you guys what I'm looking at here. because if you stay on normal pass rush, you're not going to get much of a pass rush at all. Although I have great pass rushers. The main reason is because we're playing on all Madden. They cater to the all-pro. That's where their tweaks come in, the all-pro settings. So it's going to be damn near impossible to accomplish this here. Here's a 4-vert play. There's one. That vertical one right there, that crossing route would probably be open on this, but let's see if we can get it. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get a pass rush at all right now. My offensive line is stout too. I think I've got 90s across the board, and in some cases 95. But what I'm typically trying to do is, you see how I shaded that guy over? The point of that is to get that single up, and you can see here they're gonna hammer that underneath every time. But imagine if it was 3rd and 18. Of course, they're not looking at it that way because the AI is just thinking it's practice mode. I don't even know what the hell's going on right here. Looks like it froze. Yeah, it's not gonna let me do it. What I'm always trying to do, though, is shade that D tackle over in the area where I can get a single block. Like, right there you see me get the edge. He's just going to hammer this all day because I can't set it down in distance. I need a play where they're going to go deep. Let me do this. Let me go concept. Long pass, vertical. Let's see. He's gonna just check that out down because he doesn't have down and distance to worry about. Let's try this tight end attack. No pass rush, no pass rush. Now you see how I got doubled up there? That's what you're trying to prevent. Now here comes that comeback that Weldon's talking about. See that? What I'm going to try to do here, you get the running back on one side. I'm trying to single up over here. I want that guard to take on that D tackle so I can get this edge. Why is it making me spin back in? That's hilarious. But you see right there how I got finally to the quarterback, but Deshaun Kaiser's just a damn superstar evidently. Look at that juke. Boy, Michael Vick out here, I'll tell you what. Alright, shading it over. Of course, my guy just moved up, so I can't get my D-line to move over now because it's not allowed evidently. So they should try to double me now, but they didn't get it in. There's a running back. Boom. Oh damn, it done broke his leg. See why I'm not shading it to the right. I'm not trying to rush on the right because there's too much traffic over there. There's no way that I would get any pressure on the QB in that direction. There's that big D tackle coming up the middle like I was saying. So if this was flipped, there we go. See how I'm making a move now. Now I click the right stick, get somebody on him quick. There's no way he's getting 18 yards. There's no way he's getting 10 yards, to be honest with you. It's very seldom that happens to me. But the key is you've got to single up a block. It's hard enough to get off those blocks on all Madden whenever you've got a great defender against just the pass or just a single blocker. But that's the key, is you want to get that singled up over there. See? And we're there. Got him. It's just enough time to prevent that comeback route from developing. Now, I know this is only one situation because I can't, they've got us so limited in practice mode that we can't practice specific situations, but that's how I'm getting pressure. I've seen, like, Weldon in his video, you noticed he was doubled up. Well, in one case, he actually grabbed a defensive lineman, he stood straight up, and he couldn't get no momentum from that point. Yeah, you're going to be taken out of the play. If you got a defensive lineman that they catch you on the snap and you're just kind of standing there and you didn't get a good jump off the ball, I never rush with the defensive tackles. Seldomly I'll do it if it's a running situation because I do feel like I can block shed and get myself in a position to make a play. But see, there's that comeback. But again, right there, he probably didn't get 15 yards. Those deep comebacks are where they get you, but if you can flush him out of the pocket, it's all determined by getting out there in a single blocking situation to where you're just taking on one blocker. That's the key. Let's see if we can pick another play real quick. I just want to show y'all my mindset pre-snap. And I'll tell you, this game, man, it's 90% pre-snap this year, which is pretty cool because in real life, that's what teams are looking to do. They're looking to put themselves in the best situation to succeed with that specific play. I want to call this 4 verts play on the bottom, but the reason I'm not is because that release underneath is going to prevent us from getting a good saturation of what we're trying to do here. So I'm gonna do it anyway, but you'll see he'll probably check it down because there's no mindset of, oh, we got to pick up 15 yards because they didn't add that in. I can move it to the 15-yard line because they're going to try to, you know, possibly get it in the end zone. But the only problem is by doing that, you're eliminating the deep threat, and you're also eliminating that huge cushion zone back there for the comeback. And again, we're in the same formation. I wanted to pick a different formation to kind of show you, but you see, he's just going to check it down all day. So it's just another example of how practice mode's broken. They didn't put enough into it to give you a good, you know, just a way that you can practice specific situations. I'm going to cover 4 again. Let's go back to the vertical concept, which I see some of y'all picking plays from these menus here, man. I don't know how y'all do it, to be honest with you. There's no way I could. You know, there's just there's too many options. I want to limit my playbook as much as possible. I want to master, you know, 10 running plays and 10 passing plays. And when people are going through and they're, okay, vertical, no, let's go to a shot play. I don't know how the hell y'all do it, because I'm specifically working on certain situations, you know, certain matchups. I scout my opponent before every game when it comes to the CPU and user, and I try to take away their best option right out of the gate. But really our only option here is to, oh, this might be, well, no, it's got an underneath route. If that 4 vert in the middle didn't have the underneath route, that would be a great way to test it too. The reason being is because you notice how the running back's on the left now. What I would do in that situation, this middle play right here, right? If I come out and it's set like that, that running back, actually, I probably would stay on the left and just do exactly what I just did. I would move the D tackle over to the A gap left. I'm trying to get the guard to engage into him, and the way you do that is you might slide your pass rusher out just a little bit more. You kind of go to that really, really wide 5 technique, which is on the outside shoulder of the left tackle. You want the guard to come to the line and go, okay, there's no way the center is going to be able to snap the ball and get enough momentum, enough, what do you call it, you know, your body in a central spot to where you can block this guy who's on my outside shoulder. So the guard's going to have to help with that D tackle. If you go down here, that's another check down, man. They've got, every one of these have check downs. Sucks. That one they're just going to hammer underneath. Let's try this one underneath. The vertical on the bottom. The only problem is they're probably going to hammer that underneath there. So in this situation, I screwed this one up. I put him to the wrong side. Watch the guard come over and double me. There's no way I'm getting off that block. Of course, he's just going to sit there and do that the entire time as well. But watch when I put the D tackle over here now. Right? Single. Now, I'm telling you, when you got aggressive pass rushing on, you're coming off that block free every time. Now, I want you to imagine it's not 3rd and long, or it's 3rd and long, and they're not even looking at that out route. Okay? And if that's the case, I'm going to be able to get pressure on that right side, especially with aggressive pass rush. See if I can get the outside shoulder here. Now, it's amazing how you pick a power move to bull rush outside and it tries to make you spin in place. Like, I didn't even call for a spin move. Why the hell is that animation keying? Perfect get off. Yeah, I couldn't get off. So, what I'm trying to explain is make sure the D tackle shades to the side that you're trying to get the single block. That way you've got a little bit of an advantage. That's hilarious, man. It's making me do a spin move when I'm trying to do a power move outside. Spinning back inside. And watch when I come in here. See how the guard helped? Even though I had the D tackle shaded over there, what the guard's saying is, okay, maybe he can handle that block, but if I get in here, if I get in anything other than having my hip on his outside, it's going to be very, very hard to get off of that block. Let's go back to that one play that we just talked about. The one where they don't have a check down. Like I said, this is just one play. You can run a cover 3 match too with over-the-top technique, and it'll work very, very similar. Let me go Hail Mary. Let's try that. I didn't even think about that. That might be the best way to do this. If they've got a Hail Mary in here. Wouldn't surprise me if they don't. There we go. It may still have a check down. Oh, this is perfect. Here we go. Beautiful. Alright. In this situation, I'm covering the screen up on the running back, so I'm staying on this side. D tackle shaded over. There we go. It's not going to let me get a pass rush there, but you can see this is covered up. Let me try it with Myles Garrett. Shade him over. I know there's not going to be a screen pass, so I'm safe here. See how I got the pressure? They're throwing in double coverage. That's all day long, guys. I'm telling you. You've got to shade that D tackle over to be a decoy. If you're running a 34 defense, which I recommend, all your defensive linemen are 300-pound plus anyway. Okay? And if that's the case, it really helps just get them in the way of the blockers. That's all a 34 defensive lineman is trying to do. Think of all the 34 defenses and how many nose tackles, how many D tackles, how many defensive linemen. And I don't know what Houston runs, but J.J. Watt, they move him to the edge. He's just a freak of nature. But in most cases, those guys don't have sack numbers. And that's why I was mentioning the other day with Darius, Marcel Darius. Darius is not. If I had Darius on my roster, I could give two shits if he has 3 sacks a year, because his goal is going to be to stop the freaking run and occupy double teams on pass rush. That's exactly what Danny Shelton's doing right here. He's just going to keep chucking this thing up. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a visual of how I approach that right there. If we go to a cover 3 match, let me see if I can do that too. He's just going to keep chucking it up to where I can't really get to him, because he's thinking, okay, I just got to get it to the end zone rather than I need to get a first down. Let's go cover 3 matches. This is out of the Dime 236. The same exact principle. The only difference is I've got 2 300-pound linemen in the middle, and I've got 2 pass rushers outside. I use this in a scenario where if I feel like I'm not getting enough of a pass rush, I'll throw an extra pass rush in like this. But here's the key. If you don't go over the top technique, then they're going to burn you down the seam almost every time. Okay, so let's go. What match basically means is it takes the number 2 and number 3 receiver, and you're going to match whatever route they run with a vertical mindset. You're going to be thinking, okay, if they attack the seam, I'm going with them. Although my job is to protect the flat or the middle zone, whoever lines up on the 2 and the 3, it's still going to they're going to play that underneath in their zone unless you tell them to play over the top technique. And what you're telling them over the top technique is basically, I don't care what happens. If they run a vertical route, you stay with the vertical route. Let them have everything underneath, which in most cases is what you're going to try to do when you're in a 3rd and long situation. See if we can find anything here at all. That play is just going to check it down. It's so ridiculous that it's 2017 and they can't figure out how to do an effective practice mode. I know we were all giddy a couple years ago when they finally put it in, and now we're like, what the hell? Like, y'all really can't figure this out? I don't like doing play action passes because it puts the QB in a vulnerable spot, and it's not a good look. Let me show you right here why I always use the defender on the running back side. I know it's a screen to the right here, but in a shotgun scenario, I'm always going to play the side of the running back. So let's pretend that he's actually in a sidecar right here instead of pistol. I'm over here so I can cover that up. I love how Kaiser runs with amazing speed when I'm not controlling him. When I'm controlling him against the CPU, he's like a damn snail. Alright, let's just get out here and you can read it by the line. It's so easy to read a screen pass. It's not even funny. But anyway, that's why I always line up on the side of the running back. And you can still get the single block on the outside, and once you beat the offensive lineman, you can pretty much run straight through the running back if you're halfway decent with timing. But with that match play, let me try to run it again against. I can't believe I'm having to use a Hail Mary to try to show you guys what I'm talking about. Ridiculous. He's just gonna keep chucking it up. But like in this case, this is how I would set up right here. I'm on the running back side in case they screen. They don't screen. So see, you notice how you're a little bit more nervous about them catching that ball right there. I just did over the top technique. Let's see what they do here. There's a good possibility that's going to happen often against a cover 3 match if they decide to go deep, because you got single coverage. That's why I like that cover 4. But in this situation, I like a cover 3 match, and a lot of times around a 3rd and 7 or a 3rd and 8. And the reason being is, if they decide to go underneath with a crossing route, or if they decide to, Weldon runs a lot of crossing routes. I've watched a lot of his gameplay here lately, and he's not breaking any rules at all. But when he plays users, he's keeping his play calling very, very simple. I had one user complain on him. I'm not going to say his name, and we talked about it, and Weldon didn't break any rules. And I told him, if you want to propose a rule change, go ahead. It's cool. We'll vote on it. I can't guarantee it'll get passed, but that's how we, handle the rule changes. But what Weldon's doing is he's only running a handful of plays. And some people will say, oh, that's not sim. You show me the NFL coach that runs a half a dozen concepts, and he finds 3 of them that works really good. Show me the coach that's not going to run that anymore. And when people say that, when people say, oh, that's not sim, you got to mix up the play calling, that's bullshit. I watched a Packer game, it was 2 years ago, and I got into an argument with a bunch of, quote-unquote sim guys online. And if people want to play that way, that's cool. I'm not going to judge them. But don't come at my guys, or don't come at the way we play and say it's not sim, because you're being 100%, untruthful. But I watched the Packers run an ace 11 ISO run and play 8 out of 9 plays. And the reason being is because they knew that when they came out in that 11 personnel ace 11 formation, that the defense was going to a dime look. They were going to a dime look because the Packers had such good depth with their receiver position, and at the time they had a decent tight end threat. They did this a lot with Jermichael Finley. That's when they really started going to the ace 11. So what happens is Aaron comes to the line, he looks up and goes, okay, they're in a dime instead of a nickel, let's run the ball. And if someone stays in that dime formation and you're playing against them online, and they can't see that, okay, I'm gonna have to thicken up my personnel a little bit in order to stop this run, then that's on them. Now, we do have a rule, and this is what I explained to the guy, that you cannot run the same play back to back. That's just silly. It's not silly in the sense of real football and what happens in the NFL, because it actually does happen. But in our league, that's one way that we can kind of control people abusing certain plays. But you can call the same play, but you better change it at the line. And if someone's just changing one route so they can say, nope, it wasn't technically the same play, then we're going to have to add in another rule. We're just fortunate enough that we got people in our league that we don't have to do that. But what Weldon's doing is he's just running a handful of plays. And I mentioned that because he runs a lot of crossing routes. Well, with that crossing route underneath, I'm going to go to probably a cover 3 match. And the reason being, I play over the top technique. You notice that that crossing route's going to be covered all the way across the field. Oh, this is pretty cool. When you hold the right trigger, they don't snap the ball now. So that's nice to know. Appreciate y'all putting that in the blog for us. But if he's running a crossing route, it's much easier to cover it with this rather than that cover 4, because obviously with the cover 4 too, if he's going to a crossing route, that's not his first read. He's probably looking at 1 read, 2 reads in the crossing route. And in that situation, he's out of the pocket and he's creating problems. So, but in this situation here, imagine a crossing route trying to cut across that with over-the-top technique. Unless the AI completely botches the play, which it happens in real life and it happens on Madden all the time, you're going to have basically guys covering those zones. There's also another one that I run. It's like a drop 2 show 4 look, where it's more or less a Mabel concept, where one side's going to be overloaded. So I'm gonna study film on it. I'm gonna figure, okay, what side is the crossing route running from, left to right, right to left. I'm gonna make sure my Mabel's on that side. That way, when he rolls out and he looks for that crossing route, there's going to be a cluster of about 3 defenders there. It doesn't mean they're going to make the play, but the goal is to put your guys in position to make the play consistently, and eventually, hope someone makes a mistake. Now, if I was in this situation right here and I came out and I seen a dime set in this look, what I'm looking to do here on offense is I'm looking to overload these zones. In this scenario, some people would probably try to go to a corner route. I don't like going to a corner route here in that cluster on the right side, because for me it's too hard to read what that curl flat's going to do. You see the purple zone on the right side. I cannot figure it out, and in most cases, we talked about this in the chat, it seems like the CPU can cover one thing and then break off with lightning speed and go. He's essentially covering 2 concepts with one zone, which should not happen. So the way that I like to attack things is I like to stretch the field vertically and use the middle of the field. So with that hook curl, I may send one down the seam, I may send one underneath, and I may have an out route in case they run a cover 3 blitz. So when I snap the ball, if it's a blitz, I'm going look for my out route. If the out route, I don't feel safe with it, I know I got a check down coming underneath. We should be good. If I snap the ball and it's not a cover 3 blitz, I immediately read that middle hook. I'll have someone going down the seam. Is the hook following or not? If the hook flips his hips, and that's the key, as long as they're not still strafing, if they flip their hips, you know they're committing to going deep. That's probably a Tampa 2, or that might be a cover 3 match. See, the difference between a cover 3 match and you know, anything else is that hook curl zone, or that purple. In this case, it'll probably the purple. If Teal there goes vertically, rather than running that curl or the flat, the match is telling him with over the top technique, I got to protect long here. So it's just understanding the smaller set of concepts that's within one play. Guys, this is one play. That's why I'm saying when guys just run multiple plays, 20 different defensive plays, that's what I told Weldon in the beginning in the chat. I'm like, dude, I don't know how the hell you do it. You're calling so many different freaking plays. I wouldn't know where my defense is coming or going. But you got to put yourself in a position where you go, okay, I know exactly what everybody's trying to accomplish on the field at this specific play. Now, how can I maximize what I'm doing as a user? And in my case, I always build my defense up. I make sure my defense is way better than my offense, and I'm going after the quarterback, especially with aggressive setting. Now, when you play users, you can't play aggressive setting. You got to keep it on normal, because you'll just get flagged all game long. So, I hope that kind of helps in showing you guys what I do to try to get pressure. Like I said, practice mode's completely broken. You can't really do it here because you can't set it down in distance. If we set it on 3rd and 10 here, I could show you how I eat the CPU alive. Go watch my games, and you'll see exactly how I get pressure on them. It's really simple. You just got to think, I've got to get my best pass rusher on it. Well, not even my best pass rusher. I've got to get a pass rusher on an island with one of these linemen on aggressive setting. You can't just run into a double team and expect to hit the quarterback. And here's the thing, too. If you're running that quarter 1-3, whatever it was, 1-3-6, 1-3, I guess it was a 1-3-7. If you're running that, you can't expect to get pressure every single play. You got a 3-man rush against 5-man blocking scheme. In most cases, when you do get pressure, it's not cheese, but it's unrealistic on your part, because you shouldn't get pressure with a 3-man rush. I understand if the center, the guard, and the tackle are all dog poopy, and they suck at pass blocking. They're 75 pass blocking, and you got a 90 pass rush. I could see you beating a double team, but let's be real. The rosters don't consistently have that. It doesn't consist of just crappy pass blockers all across the league. So anchor on the side you're pass rushing from to free up a one-on-one situation with a pass rusher. That's the goal. Preferably on the running back side so you don't get burned by the screen. So I hope this helps. Like I said, there's no way we can do it 100% the way I want to do it. But that's kind of my thought process on 3rd and long. I never blitz on 3rd and long. If it's a close game, I might get cocky. If I'm up by 20 points, I may call 0 blitz and just try to put the quarterback on his keister, just to play around a little bit. But if it's a 2-score game or less, I'm never blitzing on 3rd and long. It's just silly, because you just leave too much open, and we're on all Madden. And the day that the guys in our league want to go to all pro, I'm out. And that's nothing against anyone. I'm not mad at anybody. You guys control the setting. I'm telling you, if you're listening to this and you want to go to all pro because you're not enjoying the game, get with the other guys in the chat. See if you can come up with a majority and change the setting. I'm just telling you, I won't play on it because it's just boring to me. I'm not trying to sound like a big shot, and I get my ass handed to me online all the time by users that are 10 times better than me. But I just can't. I can't play in a season where I know I'm going to beat the CPU every single time. That's just silly. So, like I said, I hope this helps, man. We'll chat about it in our group me. Just hit me up. I probably won't send this out to everybody, but I just wanted to give a visual of what I'm trying to do. It's hard to explain how I'm trying to anchor to one side in the chat, but those videos that I seen, everybody was squared up. Basically what you had was your best pass rusher was getting double teamed, and the reason being is because the nose tackle was running right into a double team himself, or in some cases just running into the center, and because he's a defensive tackle, he's not going to get much pressure on the QB. So hope this helps, guys. We'll talk to you there in the chat.